We are into week 5. Vikings currently playing Cleveland Browns. Browns up. Big touchdown called back for Judkins. But still 8 for 51, 6.4 clip. Jordan Mason hasn't done anything really so far, as we kind of expected with the defense from Cleveland. Jefferson 3 for 38. Josh Oliver gets the touchdown on a pass from Cam Akers, not even Carson Wentz, but Diaz. What up, Diaz? What's goody? It's been a minute. How's your squads doing? I mean, here into week 5, I mean, we are almost halfway through. Some big injuries that have happened. Joku, though, leading the charge today, 3 for 41 through the air. And then, yeah, it's been a crazy year. Yep. Cam Akers last. Yep. The running backs just tend to somehow come around when least expected. Demercado now as well. Is Bam Knight back into the equation? Apparently they're rolling with the hot hand, but I didn't accept on the Neighbors deal. I just couldn't do it. I might do it in the which one is it? Because I think you were offering me him in 2 leagues. I can probably do it in this league because I do have, I think, Rashee Rice waiting to come back. So I technically could make the move. But do I need to? I don't know. I know. But do I want to just win the ship this year and, keep it at that? That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't necessarily need to make the trade. My running backs are okay. I mean, Chase Brown, Henderson. And then rebuild it in the original OG league. And then just focusing on the redraft right now. I mean, I'm in this big RFL league. It's 24 content creators, but split into 2 different big divisions. So right now we're 3-1, about to be 4-1, and I just traded away Jahmyr Gibbs to get Puka in a redraft league. Yeah, Bowers is out. I'm glad I don't have any Bowers this season. I took Trey McBride in quite a few leagues early on in that 3rd round because he was just kind of the best player available. Hasn't scored really touchdowns as of yet, but I didn't get hit with Bowers. And then going into Raiders Colts, I mean, Daniel Jones obviously has looked awesome. Lost a touchdown last week. Thanks to Mitchell dropping the ball there near the goal line. But Jonathan Taylor has been a beast. Daniel Jones has been great. Tyler Warren. Caps, what up, Caps? Need a little help. 2 PPR. Flex Sutton, Warren, or White. I'm playing Danny Diamonds over Bo Nix. Thoughts? I'm fine with playing Diamonds over Nix. I'm fine with that. But Sutton, Warren, or White. I mean, I probably wouldn't play Warren in the flex, even though he could give you at least decent production. So I'm definitely looking at either Sutton or White there. White is intriguing without Bucky and without Evans. So I feel like White is probably the safest. Or we can roll with Sutton here. And Bo Nix has not been that great. But Sutton has given you, I mean, solid production, a tutty a game almost, obviously, except for week 2. So it's between Sutton and White. Most likely, I'll go Sutton. Sean Tucker should probably take some touches as well. Have McBride at tight end. Nice. Yeah, Sutton is the dude. I'd roll with Sutton there. No new startups. Yeah, actually, did I do any new startups this year? I think I only did one new startup this year. No problem, Caps. Appreciate you. And then Raiders, right? Genty finally breaks out. So can he continue now this momentum? Because it wasn't looking good at all. So can he continue here? And then big start from Jackson Dart. So Dart going against the Saints this week, had a good week last week. Obviously no neighbors, so he doesn't have much weapon. So does that leave now Wan'Dale Robinson as the guy to own here? So yeah, I saw he's back to his stance now. I don't know why Chip Kelly even tried to say anything or do anything about that. I think he's just comfortable doing it the way that he's doing it. Let's let him do it. Let him do it. But what are we thinking about Wan'Dale now? You've got Kendre Miller now dipping into some carries on the Saints side there. For Kamara, Olave, still one of the top target leaders, but just can't put up enough production because the offense is just not that good. It's just not that good. Then you got Cowboys, Jets. You got Pickens with no CD, who was awesome last week. So I expect a lot from I expect a good game from Pickens this week. Dak has been great. Javante's been awesome. And then Ferguson as well. Just the whole Cowboys offense. I mean, they're only 1-2, but it's working for fantasy purposes, other than CD obviously going down. And then you go to the Jet side, and Garrett Wilson's been good. Fields, he just needs to stay healthy. You got Tolbert. Yeah. Tolbert's all right. I mean, he's getting looked at a little bit more now, but it's going to be a ton of Pickens and Ferguson. And then you could see that uptick with Javonte at least also in the passing game. You got Jaden Blue, I think, came back as well. So you could see him get some work with Miles Sanders a little banged up. So we'll see how that turns out there in Dallas. But Javante's been awesome. One of those league-winning late-round running backs that you can get. Mason just can't get nothing going over here. Addison apparently didn't play the whole first quarter on some kind of coach's decision. I'm not sure what that was about. If anybody knows, let me know. Boy, it's scary for Carson Wentz for a minute, because if we had to go to our third string quarterback. And then Breece Hall, like they need to just give the ball more to Breece. There's a flag, so we're about to get a first down here. Broncos, Eagles. I mean, I don't know what's happening with A.J. Brown. It's stuck. It's a hard, weird situation for A.J. Brown. You can't really get rid of him because nobody wants him. He's not scoring points. He's getting targets at least the last few games, but they're not turning into fantasy points. I was able to unleash him in one league. I think it was week 3, right before week 3, I think, before he had that one big game. I got rid of him for Ted McMillan. I gave up Pollard and Keenan Allen with AJ Brown just to get him off of my squad. I had to start the rebuild with Burrow going down. Big catch by Jefferson here. Nice play. But yeah, I don't know what's happening with AJ Brown. Saquon even also has not been elite, as we kind of are expecting, or as he was last year, at least so far. And then Jalen Hurts he's been good. He hasn't been top 3 necessarily, but he's been good. They're just not throwing it like enough, really. There goes Addison with a catch. But they are winning. So, and then you go to the Broncos side. We just talked about Bo Nix hasn't been that great. Sutton's been solid. JK's been okay. Not much from Harvey as of yet, but as the season goes on, I'm sure he'll get more and more action. So, a little bit later on, you got to be patient with some of the rookies, especially with some of these veteran guys in front of them. JK hasn't necessarily been a model of health. So if something were to go down, you can see RJ Harvey become one of those league winner types. Dolphins, Panthers, obviously Cheetah is no more. So now you've got Jalen Waddle is going to be the main guy. And then you have Malik Washington also, who a lot of people are excited about as well. So we'll see where some of these targets go, how they like to play this. Achane as well most likely gets an uptick there. Tua's tough because when he's he'll score a decent amount of fantasy points if the offense can stay rolling a little bit. But that whole situation is kind of weird. Cheetah seems like he's happy that he got injured, and does this kind of unlock the Dolphins. If you're looking at the best case scenario where they don't have the kind of Cheetah situation looming over them, that awkward kind of situation where he wanted out, does that change anything now? So that'd be interesting to see with the Dolphins here, and they get to play against the Panthers. So we'll see how the offense looks there. Tet is going to get his targets, but again, just not a great offense. The touchdowns capability is just not there. You got Chuba Hubbard, who's down as well. So Rico Dowdle gets to start. It is a good matchup against the Dolphins, but Dowdle hasn't necessarily been good this year, at all. So it's tough to start Dowdle, but if you're in a pinch, bye weeks and things of that nature, then, I'm okay throwing Dowdle in there. Texans, Ravens, you got Woody Marks, who went off last week. Does he continue to get the workload here with injuries to the Texans? Nick Chubb just not being good anymore. Nico Stroud has been horrible. So it's been a little bit tough for Nico. He'll still get his. And there goes Jordan Mason with the touchdown. So if you did start Jordan Mason, we get a touchdown here. Little 3-yard touchdown. So, but otherwise has not been great on the ground. And he lost a fumble. On the other side of that game, Ravens, you've got Henry, who has not been great at all the past couple games. You've got Lamar, who now is hurt. So do they lean on Henry a little more this week with no Lamar? And what does that mean for the pass catchers? Zay Flowers, Andrews has been good the last couple weeks. But now without Lamar, how is that offense going to look? Simp, what up, Simp? Flex 1, full PPR, BTJ, Godwin, or Dowdle. I don't think it's going to be Dowdle in a full PPR. I just talked about him briefly. Decent play. Godwin got 10 targets last game. No Bucky this game, so he's intriguing. BTJ just hasn't been able to really put it together at all, but he is getting the opportunities. So that's the tough part about BTJ. So for me, it's between BTJ and Godwin, but it's so hard to just not play BTJ. Like he hasn't been getting a ton of targets, but then they are going against Kansas City. Damn, that's tough. Between BTJ and Godwin, it is. I might have to say Godwin, but it's damn, that's a tough. You got Baker and Ibuka going already. Damn. So then you'd be playing. I mean, that's a lot to bet on against a good Seattle defense. I believe they're like number 1 in fantasy right now, or at least top 5. So I would probably just roll BTJ and live with it. But I'm not mad if you decide to go with Godwin there. But yeah, that's a tough one. Titans and Cardinals. Moving on to the horrible Titans offense. Tony Pollard just getting work, but Spears coming back this week. Pollard hasn't been good really with the touches at all. The whole offense doesn't look good. Ridley's a little bit banged up as well. Io Manor has been the best wide receiver there, but is he necessarily startable? Not really. Like no one's really startable in the Titans. Like you probably have to play Tony Pollard if you have him or don't have better options, but definitely not playing Ridley, whether he plays or not. And then going over to the Cardinals, you've got McBride, obviously. And then Marvin Harrison, who's picking it up just a little bit. He like just gives you just enough to want to keep the hope. And especially with his, with his name, but it hasn't been what we expected there. Kyler's been okay as well. I mean, he hasn't been great. It just feels like we want more from the Cardinals, and we haven't been able to get it. No Trey Benson now. Right, no Connor, no Benson. So you got Demercado, you got Michael Carter, you've got Bam Knight. I mean, what are we going to get out of that run game there? Will they be throwing the ball more? Bucks we just talked about, right? Bucks Seahawks. No Evans, no Bucky. So you got Sean Tucker and Rashard White in the backfield with Godwin and Ibuka really as your main targets there. So against a good Seahawk defense, like we just talked about. So on the other end, you got the Seahawks. JSN's been awesome. One of the top 10 wide receivers in the league. And then you got Kenneth Walker and Sharps. Kenneth Walker's been showing out a little bit lately here, but Sharps seems like he's the goal line guy. Kenneth Walker is kind of the main guy everywhere else. So it is it's tough to go between those two guys or to have to play, even Kenneth Walker, but he's been good enough. Lions, Bengals. Chase has not been good at all since Burrow's been down. It's hard to play anybody really on that offense. Chase Brown, who everyone drafted high, he's been tough to play. So if you've got better options, great. If not, you're kind of stuck with him there. And then you've got, wide receiver 2 there in Amon-Ra St. Brown, 6 tutties on the season. And then Jahmyr Gibbs, who seems like he takes a little bit more away from Monty like each and every week. But Jahmyr Gibbs has been great. And then Jared Goff is always going to be solid. J-Mo has not been good. A lot of people have wanted J-Mo to be better. The Lions were even saying that he's taken his next step up. He finished as a wide receiver 2 last year, so he did kind of take that next step last year. But this year, it just doesn't seem like it. It just seems like Gibbs and Amon-Ra are getting the majority of absolutely everything there in Detroit. So but yeah, T. Higgins hard to start. Chase Brown, hard to start. You're almost only starting them in kind of desperate situations here. Judkins now seeming to drive the ball downfield after that Mason touchdown. So then we've got Commanders, Chargers. Daniels is back. No Terry, so you got Debo who is back as well. The backfield of the Commanders has not been easy to kind of figure out. Krosky Merritt or Bill has not been given as much opportunities as we've kind of have wanted, but he is a rookie. There is a lot to learn there, and they're not comfortable with him in certain situations for a reason. So I'm not playing any Commanders running backs, but Debo is a good play. JD5, of course, is a good play. And then you go over to the Chargers. Herbert's been awesome. QJ's been awesome. Keenan Allen's been awesome. Ladd is hard to start unless you're desperate. Ladd is the third guy. Like it just is what it is at this point in the season. I think we've seen enough where you just got to not play Ladd really. For dynasty purposes, it's a good time to try and buy Ladd. But in redraft, I mean, Quentin Johnson is just he's the guy along with Keenan Allen. Now, how long Keenan Allen can stay healthy, we'll see. It's a long season. He is an older player, so we'll see how that turns out. But Omarion Hampton's been a monster all of a sudden in the last few games. Started off a little slow, but now is really kind of showing what he can do. So if you drafted Hampton, especially early, at least you're feeling a lot better now than you did the first few weeks. Then moving on to Patriots Bills, which is the tonight game. Drake May, Henderson. We just want more and more of Henderson. We haven't really gotten what we've wanted from Henderson as of yet, but he's giving you decent production in full PPR leagues. So it hasn't been too bad there. There's not really a wide receiver to play there. Diggs has been okay. Hunter Henry's really been the main guy, especially in tight end premium leagues. If you can stick him in a flex spot, he has been working out for you. But other than that, outside of that, there hasn't been much, at least. And then, of course, going over to the Bills, you've got your Josh Allen, you got your James Cook, and it's pretty much it. It's hard to play anybody else there, especially wide receiver wise. On the Bills, Kincaid has been solid enough, but still doesn't get enough opportunities. And then last game, which is that Monday game of the Chiefs and Jags. We just were talking about BTJ. He hasn't given us what we've wanted. Trevor Lawrence just looks okay, just doesn't make the guys around him better, really. ETN seems like he's now the guy again for this team with some mixture of Tootin in there, but ETN is getting the majority of the work. He has looked good on the ground. He has looked good through the air. So ETN you can play with confidence pretty much every week here. It's hard to play any wide receiver on the Jaguars, but ETN at least you can feel safe. BTJ, you just have to play being where you drafted him. And then what they're doing with Travis Hunter, I don't know. I know they were having some issues on defense with injuries. So I know he was helping out on the defensive side more. And then last week he wasn't. So it's interesting to see going forward, how they're going to start changing to use him to better fit the offense. So we'll see if anything changes there for Travis Hunter, or does he continue to just play, a little bit of offense, a little bit of defense, and call it that. But yeah, that is pretty much the rundown there of at least all of the games. You got a 4th and 1 here for the for the Browns. You got Bowers out today. Miles Sanders did miss practice all week. Oh, good run by Judkins there to get the first down. Juwan Johnson. Let's see if he'll play. Tracy may come back, but is he going to get much work? It looks like Scatabo has kind of taken over there a little bit. Braylon Allen is going to wind up missing several months, apparently, with his injury. So that bodes well for Breece Hall. So I do like the Breece Hall play going forward, even for the rest of the season. So Bucky, we talked about. You got Rashard White and Sean Tucker, who should get some work. We talked about Terry being out with Debo. We talked about Mike Evans being out with Godwin and Egbuka. You had Noah Brown out as well for Washington. So it looks like Luke McCaffrey may get some more work here as well. Alec Pierce down, so that gives A.D. Mitchell another opportunity. Hopefully he doesn't drop the ball over at the goal line there. And then we talked about Chuba being out. You got Rico Dowdle, who's going to get some work. Trevor Etienne will probably get some work there as well. And then what can we expect from Cooper Rush, who was a decent backup for the Cowboys when Dak was out? He was decent. He was okay. Had a couple good games. But yeah, any other questions? Throw them out there in the chat before we get up out of here. Njoku. Yeah, Njoku gets this tutty. Dylan Gabriel now two touchdowns? 2 touchdowns on the day. Not looking horrible against a good Viking defense. Judkins is just a beast. But big tutty there for Joku, who has been a little bit underwhelming, especially with the emergence of Fannin. But yeah, throw the last questions in the chat here before we get up out of here. Good luck in the games today. Good luck this week. Hopefully we can smash some W's for the week as we head into kind of all of these not necessarily a playoff push yet, but now all of the bye weeks are starting to come up. So you're starting to miss some of your players along with injuries. So having to play some of these waiver wire pickups. I think one of my favorites, at least for today, is going to be Dowdle if you're in a pinch. But Vikings down now by 3, so hopefully we can get something going here and not lose to the Browns like the Packers did. So it is a big game. This is a big game. Right. Let me get up out of here. If there's no other questions, we'll be back on Wednesday night, 10:30 to 11:30 p.m. Eastern. Where we'll be answering dynasty and redraft questions, whatever you got. So pop in on Wednesday. And other than that, good luck. Smash the like, smash the subscribe. If you're not subscribed, Frank, what's up, Frank? Yeah, Bauer's out. What tight ends you got available there, Noons? What are the options, real quick, before I get out of here? What do we got? Like, who's out there? Let's see. You got Noah Fant. You got Okonkwo. What is that Fant? And if he's not taken already, but Tong's played already. I mean, Cade Otton is somewhat interesting. Is Gadsden out there on the waiver wire? Gadsden, or even, I mean, I guess Arroyo, Tremble, Schultz, oh, damn. Are any of the guys I just mentioned available? Gadsden, Mason. I mean, it's all going to be ugly. I mean, against Washington, I mean, I feel like Gadsden is possibly the best option there. I mean, Fant is okay play, but it's just so bad, the offense. Are they going to have to throw a ton, though, going against Detroit? I don't know if Fant is out there, but yeah, it's going to be a dart throw regardless. But I'd probably either go with Fant or Gadsden, honestly. That's what those are the two I'd probably make the bets on. But yeah, other than that, I am out of here. I will see y'all on Wednesday evening. So come through for that show. We'll go over what's happening here, what happened here in week 5, and hopefully y'all came away with the dub. But I'll see y'all.